Hello family, welcome to my YouTube channel. Bagaetsho dumelang and welcome to Your Voice with me, Palesa. Now just remember, this is a channel for you, by you, with you, giving you a chance to tell your story, giving you a chance to gain the power in your voice back, giving you the power to speak for yourself, and also making sure that you tell your story the way that you want it to be told. Hence, Your Voice with me, Palesa. But just before I continue with this episode, I just want to send my gratitude. Ke a leboga, ngiyabonga. Thank you so much, for all the subscription just in 2 days. 2 days only, then we had 1,000 subscribers. I was like, my goodness, it can only be God here. It can only be God's grace. So thank you to my God, my Father, my King of Kings, my Lord of Lords, my Savior. Ke a leboga Modimo wa ka. And thank you so much for the follow. So please keep sharing, keep liking, keep following, keep subscribing. Make sure you subscribe. And more than anything, please watch all the episodes. Watch the whole episode entirely, And yes, please do watch the adverts, It is these adverts that will make this channel to be what it is. Because remember, I am who I am because you are, and you are because I am. So thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you for the following. Thank you for the like. I really, really and truly appreciate you. And all those that are also sending their stories, I am receiving their emails, and I'll make sure that, our team looks into each and every story so that we can invite you to share your story and to take power in your voice. Right here, More the Voice. So yes, now let's start. Today's episode is something that is very, close to my heart. It's very personal. And it's personal in a sense, it is time for me to take over my voice. Most of the time I get invited, right, to maybe to interviews. I will probably get invited by newspapers or blogs or even podcasts. And every time they ask me a question, I have to respond. And mind you, I only answer because I am asked. So, but then I decided, now that I have my voice, it is time that now I speak for myself. It is time that I take over my voice and tell my own story the way that I want it to be told, or the way that, I am actually narrating it so that you can understand and hear it from the horse's mouth, right? Yeah, so hence my voice with me, Palesa, your voice with me, Palesa. So this is what happened. Today I want to talk about my accident in 2019. Yes, of course. I'm sure you've heard it over and over and over again. You've read about it, you've spoken about it. I'm like, yeah. But rather, maybe let's go deeper into it. Maybe hear it from me so that I can tell you exactly what happened. But most importantly, the reason why I want to talk about this experience of being, a victim of a drunken driver, my car hit by a drunken driver. Me and my, But anyway, being an accident victim, I actually want to inspire someone out there. And I'm hoping that one of you, or anyone out there who has been through what I've been through, who has also probably been involved in a car accident, however or whatsoever, maybe might be inspired and know that you can overcome this. You are an overcomer. You can pull through and you will heal. So it is possible. You can overcome this. You can win. You can conquer. But it is possible to dust yourself and tell yourself that you can still make it, right? You can still overcome it no matter what challenges. But all things are possible through Christ, who is inside you. All things work together for good for those that are in Christ Jesus. So hence I'm here today, and I said, Palesa, maybe, talk to your viewers, talk to your family, talk to your followers. Let's talk about, what happened in that accident, and then hear it from the voice. So this is what happened. Anyway, it's such a long story. I'm going to try and make it short. I don't like dwelling into forever and ever story. Like I said, you've heard it before. So it was in 2019 when I was involved in a car accident that almost took my life and my daughter's life. When they say life is spiritual, I feel that in that accident, That accident was meant to kill me. That accident was meant to finish my life. That accident was sent basically just to make sure that they get rid of me. But God being God, in that time of the accident, angel of goodness and mercy came in and said, no, not with you, daughter, not this time. Goodness and mercy stood side by side when darkness tried to take my life away, but goodness and mercy said, no, not now, and not with you, daughter. So I always give thanks to God, because I know that I was saved by grace. That's why I'm always saying that the grace of God is over me so much. The grace of God is covering me so much that I even overcame, and I came through that accident alive. It is only by the grace of God, because goodness and mercy said no. Darkness failed. I always say darkness failed. Wanqaba umusa ngempilo yami. I love Zaza's song when she says wanqaba umusa ngempilo yami. Ngaphunyuka. Uthixo uyalile ngempilo yami. God said no, not with you. So it happened that I was from a wedding. It was a family wedding, and I was driving the families around, and then I dropped the families off, and I was left with my daughter inside the car. It was 2019. I think then my daughter was about 9 years old. So yeah, as I was driving back home, I want to also make a disclaimer and just respond to one of the comments when somebody, I think one of the comments was like, no, but Palisa is always talking about this accident and Palisa was drunk. And I laughed and I said, okay, fine. Let me just put it to you, family. No, I was not drunk. I'm going to repeat it again. I was not drunk. And it's because I don't drink. I've never drank in my life. I don't take alcohol and I don't smoke. And not that, I find anything wrong in anybody that drinks. But for me personally, I just don't take alcohol and I never did. And at this age, I don't even think I ever will, But that's a story for another day. One day I'll explain why, I suppose, But it's more psychological. It's a psychological than anything. So I've made a decision that I will never drink, because I've experienced how alcohol can destroy a person or can destroy a family. But like I say, a story for another day. So I want you to enjoy, this clip that I'm going to, play here on The Voice with Palisa, just so that I can take you through what happened, during the accident, and of course after the accident, and so forth and so forth. So here we go. That night, that evening, I think it was around midnight or so, the car was driving, and I was about to turn right on a traffic circle, and the traffic circle gave me the right of way, and my daughter was at the back seat of my car, And the funny thing happened at that time, when you're driving, because at first, before I put my daughter at the back seat of the car, my daughter was actually sitting on the right, in the front seat with me. And as I was driving and I'm playing a gospel song and I'm praising and I'm worshiping, but something in me said, you know what, daughter, Palisa, take your daughter to the back seat of the car, because I could see that she was also falling asleep, And then in the middle of the night, bravely so, as a woman, I walked out, I came out of the car, picked up my daughter, put her at the back seat of my car, and also put a safety belt, and just, threw her with a blanket. And then I'm like, okay, fine, now I can drive home, to my place. And as I was driving, coming to the traffic circle, yeah, so the traffic circle gave me the right of way, and just as I turned, all I remember was a bright light coming towards my car. A bright light. And the next thing, I think it was a bam, I heard like a loud sound of voice. So at first I was a bit confused, because I was like, yo, what is happening? And I didn't understand or know what is happening. You know what I mean? I think at that time, that was when I had lost consciousness, because the next thing I knew, the only thing that woke me up, I think I heard the sound of my daughter's voice at the back saying, mommy, mommy, mommy. And At that time, I was still a bit confused. As I opened my eyes, I felt like there was so much water, on my face. But then I realized, no man, this is not water. As I touched, my forehead, and I realized it was actually blood. And then I think for a second, that's when I realized, maybe I might have hit something, or I'm involved in a car accident, But at that time, when my daughter is calling my name, now through the windscreen, I'm seeing, okay, the windscreen is smashed, but through the windscreen, I can see an engine and the smoke coming out. And I'm realizing, man, this car, is on fire, or the car is going to catch fire, because now I'm seeing a smoke, smoke coming out from the engine. And I tried to hit the doors, but the doors were locked and they couldn't open. And my daughter is screaming at the back, "Mommy, mommy." So at that time, I was saying to my daughter, "Please come out, come out." And then my daughter said, "Mommy, I can't come out." With all my strength, I was trying to hit the doors open, but I couldn't hit the doors. I was trying to hit the window of the car with my hands, and nothing was happening. And I think at that time, I don't know, I must have lost consciousness again, because the next thing I found myself, I think, lying now on the streets, and people were all over me, surrounding me. But in my mind again, I think I could just hear my daughter's voice, because the first question I asked was, "Where is my daughter? Where is my daughter?" And then the next thing, I could hear the sound of the ambulance, and the ambulance came, and then all of a sudden, now again, I'm inside this ambulance, And still, when I'm gaining consciousness again inside the ambulance, I could hear the driver saying, "No, speak to her, and they're calling my name, Palesa, Palesa." But at that time, now I'm seeing a blue light. It was like, I'm hearing so many voices, but more than anything, I'm seeing a blue light, a very peaceful light with stars. It was like, I'm looking at this light, and there were stars, it was very peaceful. But at the same time, what's distracting me is people calling my name and hearing my daughter's voice. So then again, I was asking, "Where is my daughter?" And they said, Mommy's okay, she's fine, she's fine. And the next thing I knew again, I think I had lost consciousness again, because in that moment now I find myself again in hospital, one of the public hospitals. And I think that's the focus that I would really want to talk about. The treatment in the public hospital when I was received. Firstly, when we got to the public hospital, I think it was Charlotte Maxeke or Helen Joseph. I'm confusing the two. But I remember they were arguing, because they were saying the ambulance people must not take us there, because they do not have a children's hospital. So now the doctors and the caretakers there, they were arguing with the ambulance to take us where there's a children's hospital, because I was involved in a car accident with my daughter. But at that time, I'm out, I can't speak for myself, I am hurt, I'm not even sure what's happening with my daughter. But at that time, I think that was when I had opened my eyes, when I could hear people's voices again. And then when I hear people's voices now, these, I think there were student doctors that came in, and some nurses there. I must say, that student doctor was not friendly at all. I'm not sure, maybe it's because maybe they're overloaded with work, I'm not sure. Or maybe there was just too much, because as I opened my eyes and I was looking at everything around me, there were people, I think it was in casualty, people were coming in, some people were shot, some people were stabbed, people were sitting there. It was like, hey, manele mahakalas, Obviously, the hospital was not clean. Some people were in bandages, but then there were no stretchers. There was not even enough stretcher, and I was also in one of the stretchers. So some people were sitting on the floor. Some of them with blood. Some of them were being beaten. Some of them maybe were shot. So it was chaos. And as I opened my eyes, I came across this doctor. One of them was a Chinese doctor. I think he was also a student doctor, and he was also arguing with some doctors. And then I think they were talking about stitching me or anything, but all I remember was that they were arguing that there are no enough beds in hospital. And I'm sitting there, I'm not even sure how I'm looking, what's happening. The next thing now, all of a sudden now I'm out again. The next thing I open my eyes, now I realize that now there's this doctor who is a Chinese student doctor who is actually stitching my forehead. And I opened my eyes, and then he was busy communicating with me to say, Palisa, you're awake. Don't worry, we've sedated you. We are fixing you. We are stitching you. Because I think the opening was so bad. It was a head injury, and I had a huge opening on my, skull or forehead, whatever. So now that they are stitching my head, but the funny thing is, I don't even think that they clean me well because I still had blood. So basically, these doctors in a public hospital, they're busy stitching me. I'm not even cleaned. I still have blood. And even after, that stitch, what I remember, it was like they're stitching a corpse, if I could say. I've never seen that stitch ever until I saw myself, on the pictures. But more than anything, as the doctor, when he had finished stitching me, now I could hear that the nurses, are talking on the side. Hey, Lemon, get palisa, I'm like, okay, fine. Then I realized, okay, now my eyes are open, and then this lady, I just came across one of the nurses that came with a phone, and she took a picture of me. And at that time, I think I was in such a confusing state. I was still confused. Listen, what's happening? Now you're taking a picture. Now I'm being sewn. Come on now, palisa, and things like that. And that's the picture that actually went viral. That even when I saw myself on the picture afterwards, I realized, it was a huge stitch, So the funny thing is, even after they stitched me, I still couldn't find a bed. And my ex-husband came to the scene. My ex-husband was like, no ways, Palisa, cannot stay here, cannot sit here, or you know what I mean. If you can't find a bed for her, maybe let's leave this place. We'll try and go to maybe a private hospital. And they were like, okay, vela ngahamba, yazi lama celebrity kanjani, vela mthathe, whatever. But then the nurses were not friendly at all. The reception that we received there was not very friendly. Yeah, that's all I can say right now. And I must say that even that student doctor, he was very rude, And the danger about it is that sometimes they get so rude to people that they don't even know who you are. Not that I wanted a special attention. Not that, I wanted them to treat me like, hey, I am well known or I'm a public figure. No, but just to everyone, I'm pleading with the Department of Health to say, they must be able to have just, that compassion when people come into hospital, in spite of who that person is, just be able to, have compassion about, and just be friendly to people. Just pretend, leave your problems at home, because already we all have problems, but then at least just be friendly to people, just be caregivers, because that is what you're supposed to do. But anyhow, no problem. I left at that hospital up until I went home, and the following day, that was when, we decided, after I saw myself also, in the mirror, I'm like, I work with my face. How am I now going to continue, with such a huge scar, the way they had stitched me like a corpse or something like that, So anyway, 2 days later, that's when we went to a private hospital. And thank God, in that private hospital, I met a very good and understanding doctor. And everyone is always asking me, oh, Palisa, what happened to your scar? Which plastic surgeon you went to? So I want to say today that the name of the plastic surgeon was Dr. Riwan Mia. Yeah, Dr. Mia. But unfortunately, Dr. Mia has relocated, because I tried to get hold of him, afterwards, just to thank him. And on email, then he told me that he relocated back to his country. But I'm sure there are other good plastic surgeons as well at Sentin Mediclinic and Sunning Hill Clinic, So the funny thing is, when Dr. Mia was working on my forehead and the stitches, he had to now start taking off the stitches that they did in a public hospital. And what amazes me is that when Dr. Mia was stitching me, he said he had found still bottles inside my forehead, meaning the bottles of the windscreen. So in a public hospital, these doctors, they probably just wiped me, and then they just went ahead and stitched me still with the bottles inside me. So they couldn't even clean me properly. They couldn't clean the blood. They couldn't even take the bottles. So now I can imagine what could have happened afterwards, So lucky enough, thank God, then Dr. Mia was able to, undo those stitches and clean me. And after cleaning me, he had to, do that operation on me, the plastic surgeon, which came out very well. And I must say, I thank God for Dr. Mia. And yes, I also thank God for the family that came through and helped pay for my plastic surgery. And no, it was not the other guy that paid for my plastic surgery. Can I repeat that again? It was not the other guy. Not that I was asking that other guy to pay for my surgery. No, I did not ask him, and he doesn't even owe me. But it was not him, as it was, always publicized. No, it was a family that a very close family, the Litsiki family, that helped pay for my plastic surgeon. So, and I thank God for that family, and I also thank God that for Dr. Mia, because she did a very good job. So yeah, you can look at me now. Look at me now. Yeah. So family, that's what happened, during my my car accident. So right now, I just want to talk about, a bit more about the after effects of the injury, the head injury. I wanted to invite the Road Accident Fund representative, but unfortunately, the lady said she was not available at the moment. But I'm hoping that next time, at least Road Accident Fund will come by and explain, how to claim Road Accident Fund, who should claim and why. So yeah, hopefully next time they will be here, because I wanted this episode to be more informative, more educational, and to also just people should get to know about claiming and their rights, especially as South African, of what to do after you get involved in a car accident. So I'm hoping that Road Accident Fund next time just come in and explain, because I did claim. I'm a claimant myself, but hey, it's still 5 years later. I'm still waiting. So don't think that it's okay. But anyway, now fast forward, I also want to talk about the challenges of a head injury, because it took me a while before I could heal completely. And even now, I can't even say that I've healed completely, because I am still going through headaches, The challenges of a head injury afterwards, for the first 3 years, I know I would suffer blackouts. Sometimes I would just, I would get irritable, like very irritable, easily irritable. Sometimes I would just forget some stuff that I would probably be putting there, and I would forget, hey, Ghana, what was I doing? What was I, yeah, or what am I supposed to say? And it also affected me also in my workspace. There was a time I got a role called Isibaya. It was a DSTV telenovela. But at that time that I started, I couldn't even finish. I think at that time, 2-3 calls was just enough, because I couldn't catch my lines. I would just get a script like that, and then in that script, they would probably give me like an 8-page script. And by the time I get to the 3rd page, I had forgotten my lines. So they had to get rid of me. That was, the challenge that I had. And then I got another job again, Galaxy Universal Network. I used to be a morning show presenter there and a morning show news anchor. But the challenge also was that, it also blurred my vision, because every time I would look at the auto cue to read the news, I couldn't even see the words, I would have to ask my producer to take the words up so that at least I can read, what's happening. But more than anything, I would also get tired, because I would get headaches. And sometimes I would be interviewing someone, and then when in the middle of the interview, then I even forget my guest's name. So it was very challenging, of course. A lot of times, like, I had to lose my work. I lost a lot of jobs through that head injury, through the accidents, and I suffered, a lot of headaches as well. So most of the time, constantly, I would live with, painkillers, and that's the only thing, that I could take just to survive. So all the main reason for this episode is basically to say to people, please be aware of, drunken driving. Do not drink and drive. Just, I want to raise awareness on drunken driving. I want to raise awareness on safe driving. And I want to say to people, Pepani in the lane, be safe on the road. Do not text and drive. Do not drink and drive, and focus and be safe on the road. So that's the reason for this episode. And I'm hoping that, my story will inspire someone out there. My story will encourage someone out there. And also my story will tell somebody out there that it is possible to overcome. You are an overcomer. You can make it. So Mbagaitsu, Gyalebucha, keep subscribing, keep following, keep liking, keep sharing, and watch all the advertisement. Go tswa go nna Palesa Madisakwane kokomane ya ga se bolai ke re go tswa ka mejako ga se go latlhana. See you on the next episode.